Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Boys in the Baltic Star. Here we are. We've arrived. Bring back the search parties. Just a little bit of a funky at beginning with internet problems, as always. The normal. But thank you so much for joining us this evening, and thank you for choosing us to at least start this part of your day. And as always, we do appreciate you for being here, and we appreciate our VOD squad as well. I feel bad because last week we didn't wish Timothy a happy birthday, but he doesn't tend to watch our other streams, so it's nice. Should we all raise a glass or a mug now and wish our fine captain of the VOD squad, Timothy, a very happy birthday?
Happy birthday, Timothy.
Happy birthday, Timothy.
And that's a very important thing to get done, first and foremost. We toast very few people in the stream, Greyhill and now Timothy. So I hope you feel special for that. Oh, I know.
Canon.
He's in high order indeed. He's right up there at the top. But anyway, welcome. If it's your first time, welcome to the Boys in the Baltic Star. It's Friday night, and on Friday, if we're all here, all of us, all the OG, if we're here and things are good, we play Traveller, our ongoing Traveller campaign. We're all here. Things are pretty good, so we're playing Traveller, our ongoing science fiction roleplay game. The thing that the channel started on. It's our bread and butter. It's our first love. It's our one true love. It is what brings us our energy in the day and our dreams at nights. And I hope you can all enjoy that time with us. If it's your first time, please feel free to lurk or to chat. Both things are good. Of course, if it's not your first time, also the same. We love our lurkers. We love our chatters. Please feel free to chat about the channel. Just chat amongst yourselves. Ignore us. Just use it as a chat room. Pretend it's the mid-90s and you've fumbled into some random chat room somewhere. Just, chat amongst yourselves. Not too many ASLs though, while we're trying to do our stuff. We're going to run for a couple of hours this evening. We're all tired these days, and Ben would run for about 7 hours, but we've got to rein him in. We have to rein ourselves in, to be honest, because we'd go for 7 hours and try to be a bit more responsible. So we'll have a break at some point in the middle. So Fiddler's here. Oh, yeah, that kept pinging up. The affiliate anniversary everywhere. I logged on. It was forcing it on me, Fids. And now you're doing the corporation's work. But thank you for joining us. But yes, so I've got to put Team Yana up now. Sorry if you're listening on VOD. It makes no sense now, but there's a Yana going up. There she is. Okay. But yes, we're gonna run for a bit. We'll have a break in the middle. There's a little red sun there. Feel free to click it or not. That's to spend some points. Some cost a lot, some cost a little, some interact with the game, some not so much. Team Yana means Yana Teak appears on screen. It's one of her only appearances these days because I'm too busy to do the news at the moment, which is where she normally turns up from. Luckily, a Team Yama is normally followed by a Team Muffin, except Ewan is not this evening. But that's an example of things you can spend points on. You can give a fist bump. You can just generally do some generic fun bits. You can, you can look at that. There's some bits that run into the game. That's what I wanted to talk about. You can name an NPC. You can be part of canon, the very canon of this channel, by naming an NPC. You could play Clonk, which means one of the characters has to hit someone or something nearby. You could play Stefan's Sneaky Masterclass, where he has to steal something. Oh, hang on. I recognise that song.
What song is that, Luke? What on earth could this possibly mean?
It's the guns come out. So yeah, those little reddy pink ones will play a bit of music, and it's very exciting. That's just one of the many. Have a look. There is a special one though, and a couple of people have already done it. It's the 1 credit. It's the I'll drink to that. If you want to agree to something, if you're sort of celebrating being in the moment and just being happy with life, I'll drink to that for 1 little credit anyone can afford. We're always going to keep it the cheapest. And we just appreciate you joining in. I know Spez's gun show. We need to get Spez on the gun show. That might have to become his theme song instead of mine, the way it's going. That is some 100% beef on those guns, I tell you. But anyway, that's enough of that introduction. Let's get started properly. There's the 3 of us here. Let's talk about who we are. In the bottom right-hand corner, my name is Luke. Hello. I'm in the bottom right-hand corner. It's where I like to be. And I play two characters in this game. I play Kara and I play Soraya. Soraya she was a scout. She's very good at fixing stuff and driving stuff and looking where things are and mechanicking stuff, a bit of drinking. She's a bit like a Han Solo in this world. She can even fire a gun or two. Whereas Kara is our artist, our carouser, our trader, our hacker, very delicate, made of glass, but good to chat with. Moving on above me, if we look directly above me, I always put him above me now that I get the choice, so I can look up his nose and check everything's going all right up there. It is my brother from another mother. He is the Floofmeister General. He is the housewife's favourite. It is the wonderful Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Good evening, Luke. I'm good, thanks. I'm here and things are good. So we're playing things are good.
Good. I'm glad you were drowned out by a sexy boy playing, but it's what it is, isn't it?
That's probably for the best, to be fair.
You're still in Christmas mode as well. I forgot to change you to the Easter Bunny. So it's Christmas Ewan all year round.
Oh man, time's a funny thing, especially seasons. Celebrate it when you want.
And we will. Every day is Christmas when I'm with you, Ewan. So who do you play in this magical tale of ours?
Well, I play the other two PCs in a magical tale. I play Agnar Arnson, who is Varga Wolfman, fluffy ex-military general, who is very good at military tactics, a little bit of medic, and quite often likes to throw around the... No, he doesn't like it. I like it. To throw around the "don't you know who I am" every now and then. And I also play Stefan Miller, who is a sneaky, streetwise space rogue, currently clinging to the side of a cliff, awaiting rescue off of a planet for various reasons. We won't go into those tonight, though, will we, Ben?
Not at all. I mean, there's no way.
that pause was far too long.
Just taking your lead, Ewan.
Thanks.
And Ewan's done it. He's broken the stream's seal, as it were, and he's brought in our referee himself. So now we have to discuss him. He's right at the top. He is the smartest man in any room. He lives his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence, except for those evenings. Let's go pause.
Majestic!
Yes. Oh, look at him resplendent. Look at that. Very strong resplendence. He likes to sneak out every now and again, and he likes to break into the... Well, not break. The windows are left open for him. Into the houses of women around the country, especially into Sox's bedroom, where he likes to leave his chocolatey deposits on their bedside.
All because the lady loves milk tray.
He is our intelligent, our smart, our wonderful, our sexily voiced master of all things, great knowledgeable guru, the vizier of fantasticness. It's Ben. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well, yes. Yes, had a lovely day today and very much looking forward to tonight.
Are you looking forward to tonight because you're looking forward to being really kind to us in our decisions that we make? And you're just happy that we're happy?
Yeah, that's the reason.
Excellent.
He said yes.
I know. Make it, it's canon. Make a note. Bring that up later on when we're all dead and mourning.
Yes, well, I suppose, as we've all been introduced, it is time to introduce where we are. So, we're back on Giikur, water world and home to the Pelago race, and extremely fast circumnavigation of the whole planet by highly specialized boats. Our heroes are attempting to put a few of their number in the race as crew on the ISB team, because the race is allowed to go close to the embargoed island of Herrenhal. There may be answers there to some important questions, if the rumours can be believed. Soraya has now been released from custody, though she did agree to appear as a witness if Stefan is caught and comes to trial. All of this, the ongoing fallout from a night at the Cascade when Stefan stabbed Anton Fess. Stefan is hiding just below the peak of one of the plateaus that makes up the city of Selville, waiting for collection arranged by a mercenary called Jurel Kags. Kara is leading the efforts to get places on the VCI team. Their first preliminary race went well, but there's another one ready to go, and Cassie, the captain of the team, is really concerned that the rival teams, VCI and DSS, who already share the same design of racing craft, might also be collaborating in other ways. Agnar interrupted his enthusiastic support of the team to have a secret meeting with Zoe, who'd been missing since the stabbing. It turns out she had news, something that tenacious investigator Brina Locke had already alluded to. Fess has gone missing from his hospital room, and she's trying to find him. Preliminary 5 is about to start, and as the ISB team heads out to the start line, they see the other teams around them, and there's a moment of breathless anticipation as the countdown closes in on 0. And that is where we resume the story.
With the
What a
breathless
place to
excitement.
pick up.
There's definitely some breathless excitement. Oh, it is. You said prelim 5 is about to start. You said, and we're back down. With
Indeed.
Kara, before before they sort of gather back together again and zip up the old jumpsuit a bit, back to tightness again. Finish off the last remains of fish sandwich and so on. She chugs it down, and they're about to walk back towards the Pelago race. So she's just gonna drop a tweet, like a little message to her new thousands of followers she's got, since this thing started. And she's just gonna start by sowing the seeds. She's just gonna say, anyone notice the similarities between the DSS and VCI crews? Question mark. Just a thought? Question mark. Dot. That emoji is like,
All right. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to make this, since you're not using like technical skills in the strictest sense, I'm going to make this a persuade check, please.
Ooh. I like it. Persuade. I can do that.
Persuade with, I think, your choice of intellect or education.
I'm going to go persuade with. Oh, that's Soraya. Persuade with education. She's a very educated lady. Why not?
Why not, indeed?
Persuade with education. Yeah, Rock the Frog's a bit too comfortable already here. That's a 6 plus 4 is 10.
10. Okay.
Yeah.
The in just those few minutes before the race begins, you don't see the entirety of what the tweet might achieve, but almost immediately, because obviously this is a hot topic of conversation locally, the race, I mean, generally, almost immediately a couple of people spread the word a little bit from this. And in particular, a few responses come in, just a few sort of early ones. A general mixture of the ones you'd expect, This is Kara sending out the tweet, so some highly offensive suggestions, some suggestions that, sore losers always blame things that they shouldn't, but
Well, of course.
a few seem to come out and say, yeah, it's dirty play.
Oh,
And you seem to have certainly a fair few friends on the network.
that's what I like to hear. I'm sorry, I've got to start reading Rock Frog's posts because I'm trying to be serious. When they're talking about Bump Blackpercent invading the Soleimani Rim, it's very difficult to stay focused on the games. I'm going to move that chat off the screen. I think that's ridiculous. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, she sort of smiles herself and pockets the phone device with an eye to sort of look at it after the next run, after the next prelim. Sort of pats her posse on the back as she goes, especially a cat. Come on, cat, let's get him. Let's get a good result here. Let's prove to everyone that we're the #1 crew.
Okay. Now, you hop down inside your craft. You've been here before. You know the layout. Now, if you recall, your 4 are going to take the alternate positions as you did last time. So last time, Kara and Sammy handled the depth controls for the keel.
Yes.
So this time it'll fall to Kara and Sammy to handle the wing controls.
Okay, got you.
And so this time it'll be Kat and Freya doing the depth control. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So out on the start line, the timer ticks down. You're getting a bit more familiar with the layout. Not only can you now read the actual timers and the screens a bit more efficiently up front and see a bit more of what's going on, but also you are very comfortable now with that build up of tension just before the race, and you can see it in Cassie's shoulders just before she hits the go button, that she's waiting for this countdown. The countdown hits 0, and then there's a pause for anywhere between sort of 1 and 5 seconds before the light goes officially green, and you can't jump the start. So you can't sort of time it to hit the button as the countdown hits 0. A deliberate thing to make sure everyone has a fair start. And accordingly, there is a long pause at this one. It hits 0, and it's probably over 4 seconds before the light goes green and Cassie punches the button. That seems an unbearably long wait. And then, of course, the pressure builds and you're pushed back into your seats, and that first hard right turn comes up really, really quickly. And I'm going to need you to make some rolls. So,
Yes.
what
are people hungry? Are they?
yes.
Have we got time on this? I thought this is one of the short ones.
Cheese and tomato rolls.
You've got a place on the team, but it's the catering.
The catering course.
So,
yeah.
All counts.
Kara's doing the wings level this time. And I allowed Kara to use, I allowed the others to use their pilot skill for this.
Yes.
So I'm happy to do that. But if you think there is a technical skill that Kara has that would be useful in this role.
Is the wing...
Philosophy.
Yeah, can I use philosophy? Because it's very important for the wings to stay level. It's important for one to stay on an even keel. Do you not feel that instead of ups and downs through life, it's important to know when we should be up and down and when we should stay level? I'm going to go for computers, if that's possible, as they're using a computer system.
They are. Yeah, okay. You can have computers under the circumstances, but if you're going to have computers,
Yeah.
the issue you're going to have with that is doing it in a very physical environment. You know, being pushed around while trying to basically play a computer game.
Dexterous, then, are we?
So I think we're not going to give you dex or anything. I think it's going to have to be your, I would think, endurance.
Endurance? I've not ever rolled an endurance with car except when she got shot that time. It's a 0 for the
Certainly not
endurance.
with computers.
I know. Oh, the only thing I know I'm left to endure is Ewan. Right, here we go.
That's true.
So it's computers +1, endurance 0. He really is, isn't he? Sucks. He's trying it on that one. Right, here we go. Ooh. Okay, I think I might have scraped it. We'll see, because that is a 7. 7 + 1 is 8.
Okay, all right. You achieve an 8, and you're in the same pair as Sammy. Both of you seem to do well enough, not necessarily spectacularly, but well enough. And you end up effectively being the first pairing to take over and do a bit of the race. As soon as the wings are level on the way out of that hard turn, you take over, and not too bad. As you relinquish control to the next pair down, you realize that looking across, it looks as if there's you've lost a little bit of ground to some of the other teams, but not too much. It's certainly capable of keeping up. And then the next group come over, come onto the line, and they take over smoothly. And almost immediately you realize that they're not quite as good. They're not quite as skilled. And there's a bit of a wobble and a little bit of a sort of bounce from the waves. And as you set off down the race, you can feel something about the craft doesn't feel like it's doing exactly what it should. It just feels a bit unsettling, a little bit too much vibration, a bit too much turbulence, perhaps. And the third group, which is your two partners, which this time will be Kat and Sammy. Sorry, it was Freya the last time.
Okay.
Kat and Sammy. They.
Freya did quite well then. She's got no skills. Good girl. Freya.
She did all right. Yes. It was a good roll, not particularly good skills, but yeah. You don't need to worry about Kat.
I wouldn't expect I'd need to. She's annoyingly skilled.
It's not perfect by any means between them. The depth is outstandingly maintained. It's smooth as you like, but there's a little bit of a wobble to the wingtips, and as a craft, you're still losing a little bit of ground to the other craft. But the worst of it seems to have stopped. And by the time you get to the next people through, okay, by the time you get to the next people through, the turn has been made and you're shooting back towards the start-finish line. And your crew up in the cockpit area take over for that last hard left turn and steer it back across the line. Cassie is almost slumped. Yeah, sort of damn it. And she looks really, really irritated, and brings the craft in to where it can be carefully picked up by the little tugs and turned around and towed back into its slipway. But she is gripping the controls with her knuckles white and sort of almost shaking. She's really upset.
Oh, Cassie. Sorry, I feel like we all failed you a little bit this time. I'm sorry. I did all right, but it's frustrating. Just it's the first time I've experienced it, seeing those teams just pull away. You know that it must drive you mad.
She doesn't answer, and when the hatch opens, she just stalks out immediately and jumps out onto the quay.
Oh, Cat, we've got to cheer her up. She's down. Don't want her to. We don't want to blow this. You know, as much as you want these guys to do well, we need to be in this crew to get to the islands.
Mm-hmm.
You were the best. You were the best on there tonight. You know, just then. I don't know. We need to make it clear that hopefully the stats are going to show that when you were in charge, that was at our peak, right?
She nods and hops out to follow Cassie along the quay and see if she can talk to her. And it turns out it's not very hard to find Cassie. She hasn't gone very far. She's walked over to the side of the building and she's leaning against it, almost with her forehead pressed against it. She's clearly a bit distraught.
Kara will give Kat the look for Kat to sort of initiate something. Like, go on.
Okay. Kat's going to try something. Okay. Kat's talking skills are not perhaps the strongest. She tries, and Cassie turns around and literally reaches out and shoves her aside and storms off down towards the sort of office area at the end of the quay.
What'd you say? Kat?
I just said, I think we can do better.
Look, it's just lucky you're a pretty face, and it's lucky you're good with the joystick. Go look over the data. I'll go talk to her.
Okay. It's not hard to see what's got Cassie so upset. When you look up at the sort of scores, the ISB team is at the bottom of the table and marked in red as disqualified.
What? Why on earth would that? Looking at the stats, is there an obvious reason why we would be DQ'd?
Yeah, there is. In the second set of people, the people who came after Kara and before Kat's pairing, the craft came clear of the water. And it's a kind of flying boat, but it's a boat. Your keel has to remain in the water at all times.
So I take it that's disqualified from that race as opposed to the whole competition.
Yes, it's disqualified from that preliminary. But if it were to happen in the actual race, you'd be disqualified from the whole race. And bear in mind, that's a 30-hour race.
Yeah, I can imagine. after looking up, Kara's going to walk towards the office. But as she walks, she's going to try and call. She's going to try and call Agnar.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, yeah, big floof. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just I'm on the way to meet Sharp.
Did you see the
Are
result?
you done already?
Have you not seen the result?
No. How'd you do?
Uh,
You did good, didn't you? That's why you're calling.
I did good. I did. You know, I did good. I did good. Cat did good. The others did okay. We finished last. We were disqualified from the
What?
race.
What for?
The schmucks after us lifted the keel out of the water, and as they always say, it's a flying boat, but it's not supposed to be a flying boat. And if you know what that happens,
Is that what they say?
yeah, the wise ones say that. It's like a wise saying that goes around the pit crew.
He starts typing that into his holographic projector with the team colours in the background. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that around the fan zones. You know, all the trendy kids saying it.
It's a very trendy saying. Only the
Yeah.
cool kids say it. It must be said.
Yeah,
Well, I'm going to
don't I
try.
know it?
That's why you're saying it, no doubt. I'm going to try and call it down. Like it might be good for us because it's two of our potential rivals for slots. You know, when if I can talk to her and call her off a bit, hopefully that opens the way for us a bit. You know, we all did okay. But
Yeah.
just got to do it in my own calming, soothing way. You know me. I'll spin a line of sweet sugar, lure her in with my coquettish ways.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a good idea a good time to put your mad philosophy skills to the forefront. You can't appreciate the wins without the losses.
Oh, it's very rare.
Obviously, that's rudimentary. I'm not trained.
Maybe you should. We could spend many hours. We've got a long journey ahead of us eventually, and it'd be nice to have someone that I can sit at the bar, a bass bar, and while away the evening hours talking philosophy. You know, you always, when I've said it before, you try and then your eyes glaze over and you order a few too many whiskies a bit too quickly, and then you seem to make your excuses.
But it's chicken and egg, though, isn't it? What comes first, the whiskey or the glazed look?
That is true. That is true. I'll give you that. Anyway, look, I'm gonna go and talk to her. I don't know. You're the man with the feet on his ground. Could you like spread some love and positivity as you go? You always do anyway, you know. But you know, I'm trying to get things positive here, you know, get things positive for the team. You know, whether it's using Sharp or with just the common man and woman around you. We need a bit of an enthusiasm boost, you know. We need a little bit of joy.
Yeah, sure. I'll bring the positive attitudes that I'm so well known for.
You always do. You always do. That's what we always say about you when you're not in the room. You bring the positive attitude.
Yeah, precisely.
Cool. Well, anyway, I'm nearly at our office, but yeah, if you could, that'd be good. And have a lovely time. Have a lovely time. Schmooze, drink, be merry. Not too many cheesy balls though. You know how it gives you indigestion and then you snore.
Yeah. I won't. I was going to see how it went, but I was going to say, obviously, if you don't make the team, I'll get you a ticket, but I'll hold off. I don't think you'll need them. I'm sure I'll be watching you racing around the track any day now.
Remember when we were going to try and get you in the team, and then you very quickly managed to make sure you weren't in the dangerous race? Do you remember those days? It was like yesterday, wasn't it?
Listen, I'm old, but my memory's not that bad. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Well, you do your general thing. You lead from behind up on the hill, quaffing alcohol and eating a canapes.
Morale. I'm boosting morale. That's what you told me to do.
Yep. Yeah, and you're very good at it. Anyway, I just wanted to hear your lovely voice. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks. Good luck.
Cheers. Love you, baby. Bye. Love you, bye.
Once the phone call ends, can Agnar, is there anyone around in team colours?
Tell you what, make a streetwise check.
Oh no.
Oh
That's
no.
not what it's good at.
You can have intellect with
We're
it.
social. Oh, that's wonderful. That's a 4 on the dice, plus 0 for intellect, and minus 3 for streetwise. So that'll be a 1 on 2d6. Hey, but at least it's positive.
There might. It's not a negative number. That's true.
Not yet.
I mean, there may be hundreds, but you don't spot any because that was terrible.
Oh no.
And he'll just find the first person he sees that looks like they're vaguely interested in the Pelagro race and just hey, and give them a big hug, and then carry on walking.
For no adequately explored reason.
Keep morale up.
We all know the reason.
Of course.
They don't.
Okay. Well, since that race took, a few minutes, we can go to Agnar actually now because he's on his way back up to the plateau. It takes a little bit of time to walk the width of the cove, Limpet Cove, to get to the public sort of airport, I suppose. It's really just an air raft platform, and once there, you find yourself queuing up and clambering onto the various public shuttles that are there to take you up and down for the Pelago race. The journey up is a handful of minutes. We're not talking a very large distance, and it isn't long before your air raft is hovering steadily and smoothly next to the edge of the peak, and you can step back into the city of Selva itself.
Wonderful. He'll jump off and he'll remember what Tara said about the positive attitude, and he'll pause there for a minute and take a deep breath. Still through his his combat armor. Take a deep breath full of air and look around and head. Where was the meeting with Sharp? Was that
It's right about where you are.
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're heading off towards the stands, aren't we? In theory.
Yes.
As far as I'm aware.
And you're expecting to meet Sharp here at about noon. You've probably got maybe 20 minutes.
He'll look around. Is there anywhere selling street food? Is there any? It's about time for
yes.
brunch.
Most definitely. You're in an area that is crowded with people going to and from the Pelago race in the shuttles, but also this area offers a view down towards the race itself, and people are queuing up around the edges. So when you get that kind of crowd, there is definitely going to be street food.
Wonderful. He'll 20 minutes. He'll find the one with a reasonably long queue. The good street food, not the one where nobody's waiting.
Yep. Fair enough.
Hope that it's not longer than 20 odd minutes, and he'll queue up.
All right. It won't take very long. This is a street food vendor of note, and they are used to a quick turnaround. When you get to the front, they're essentially selling what amounts to a series of small, and when I say small, I really mean short kebabs with just 2 or 3 pieces of meat on each of the little sticks, which are then wrapped in a bread like wrap, and you can get half a dozen of them in a little disposable tray.
Oh, this smells wonderful. Tell me, what's the meat? He'll say to the vendor.
It's fish,
Smells...
bluefish, in fact.
Oh, I don't think I've ever had the bluefish. Smells good. I'll take 2, please. 2, half dozen, a dozen.
Okay. All right. That'll be 10 credits total.
There we are. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Have a lovely day. Enjoy the race. And he'll stand there, sort of looking at both of his hands, each with a tray of meat in, and has no idea how to go about eating these in a dignified manner, rather than just that he won't. He'll just stand there awkwardly holding them both, waiting for Sharp.
Yeah, I mean that they are like little mini wraps individually. So if you had access to both of your hands rather than one holding each of them, it would be relatively easy to devour them in 2 or 3 bites. Especially with your bite, which is big.
Yes, exactly. Much worse than his bark.
Much worse than his bark. So, it is not very many minutes later when you see Sharp weaving her way through the crowd towards you. Hey, Agnar.
Stick up a hand with a tray in it and sort of half wave. Ah, Sharp. Hello. Good day. I hope you don't mind. I took the liberty of brunch here. It's almost lunchtime, but I figure we've got time to squeeze in one brunch before we.
Just an extra brunch before lunch.
On our way. Yes, of course.
Excellent stuff. So she takes it, looks down, she's like, "Thank you. This is fantastic." Takes a bite and lets out almost a little moan of pleasure. It's like, "Oh, I love these."
Agnar lets out a big sigh of relief as he can finally use his other hand to start eating his. I've not tried them before, but they're very tasty. Very nice.
They are. They're a little like, in terms of texture, they're fairly stiff, maybe like a well-cut tuna steak or some monkfish, but the flavor is more mackerel-y, peppery, and sharp. It's very nice.
Tell me, is this fish, is this a local delicacy? You're well acquainted here, aren't you?
Bluefish, yeah, it's a big industry here.
I can imagine. It's, as I say, it's lovely, very tasty.
So she sort of looks around, says, let's take a seat. Our shuttle will be here soon. And she walks over and finds a place on the sort of the perimeter wall overlooking where there's a gap big enough for the two of you. And perches there and continues to munch on her kebab wrap things.
Agnar's going to get a ping on his device. Tara, who sends a picture of her with a thumbs up, as an encouragement, and says, "If you run out of things to say, tell her that story about your great grandfather. The Varga sailor." That gets all ladies excited.
he'll read his phone and then he'll just, oh, sorry, it's Kara. She just wondered what I was, how I was doing for brunch, and he'll take a photo of his kebabs and ping them over.
Because, centuries and centuries in the future, people still do that.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have social media, but as far as he's concerned, Kara can use it. If you don't mind me asking, whereabouts are our seats? I see they're sort of all over, aren't they, Ben? So
she smiles and sort of just points up.
In the nosebleed section. Is that? I believe I've heard Soraya mention that at the buckyball.
In the in the airship.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel as though I've been spoiled. It's very kind. Thank you for inviting me along, or thank you for letting Kara invite me along.
It's going to be fun, I think. And Kara's doing all right.
Yeah, I think it's a mixed bag, really. I think they did quite well in their first race. You know what's going on, don't you? You know what she's. Did we inform you? She's got a tryout day for one of the teams.
I did see her name on the list.
See, I knew you'd know what's going on. Yes, so she did very well in the first race and very well in the second race. Though I think the team ended up getting a disqualification. You know what they say about these boats? They are flying boats, but they're not meant to be flying boats. So I'm led to believe.
It's what the cool kids say.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. She looks a little bit nonplussed by your comment, but then it's like sort of, right, yeah, flying boats, of course. I must have heard that somewhere.
Is that do people not say that?
I mean, possibly. I just haven't heard it.
Okay. Yes, of course. I'm sure Kara's right. I'm sure everyone says that. It's very unlike her to make things up to make me look foolish. He'll sort of roll his eyes.
Very unlike her. Yes. Yeah. She finishes up the last of her kebablets.
Kebablets.
And checks the time. That's right. We should be able to head off in a few minutes. And as you look up, you can see there's an air raft with a rather different look to it coming. This is much more luxuriously appointed. It isn't a regular shuttle. This is like a large private version of the same kind of craft. And the whole layout of the thing is like the limousine of air rafts. So as you see it appear, it comes down and Sharp gestures to you and indicates that it's time to go.
I hope this isn't this isn't crass of me to ask, but is this a formal do? Should I have worn something a bit smarter? My old dress uniform I still have. I feel somewhat out of place.
No, it's for sports fans. You'll fit right in.
That's you were laughing, not Agner. Oh well, okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear it. Let's please, after you.
Okay. You step aboard. It is spacious inside. There are very comfortable seats, arranged in little clusters around fixed coffee table type things. It's like a private jet in terms of its arrangements, and it looks immaculate. It's big, and you do get a couple of envious glances from the people queuing up for the regular air rafts down to the bay, but not. There's no trouble with that. There's just a few people sort of looking at you, thinking, "Lucky," and you stalk aboard and find your seats. Moments later, it turns out you are the only passengers on this trip. No one else is heading where you're heading. The air raft pulls smoothly away and heads upwards and out over the ocean. And it isn't very long before you see, emerging through the slightly wispy clouds, a quite remarkable looking flying object in the atmosphere. It is undeniably a dirigible in the sense that it is shaped a little bit like a rugby ball and clearly is held aloft by that structure. But it doesn't look like any dirigible you've seen before. The enormous engines at the rear, stuck on extended sort of pods and structures. The gondola doesn't hang beneath it exactly. It's built into the bottom third of the craft, and there's glazing all around it in all directions. It seems to have what amounts to a glass bottom to the gondola as well. So if in it, you could look straight down at the ocean. And as you approach, a little ramp extends from the side as a door opens smoothly and the air raft pulls up alongside, and you can step aboard. And as you do that, we will cut back briefly to Kara.
Carl's just about to knock on the door to go into the office when she gets a ping. And she looks down to see a fuzzy and weirdly angled picture of some kebab meat. Clearly taken by someone who has never taken picture of food for social media for likes. And she allows herself a smile, a wry smile. He's trying, he's learning. Maybe by the time he's 50, he'll know the skill. And she doesn't delete it. She keeps it in her saved photos. And then she knocks on the door to the office, and then if it's the sort of place that I can enter afterwards, she enters afterwards. Otherwise, she'll wait to be.
No, this is a busy place. People coming and going all the time. It's no doubt polite to knock, but these aren't private offices, so by all means, go straight in.
Cool. She's going to head into the office and look around, like not as in like snoop around, as in like enter through the door and look at what's going on.
Unsurprisingly, you see Cassie there. She is sitting cross-legged on the middle of a table, looking down at a tablet between her knees. And she's got, very straight, stiff back, but her head is bowed over the tablet, and she looks very much like she's concentrating and not wildly happy.
Cara will, instead of going straight up to her, she'll wander. And is there like a hot drinks machine or some, something?
Yeah, there are desks around the walls. There are various screens and areas that people have put up information, team rosters, all sorts of technical details about the craft. And at a certain corner, an area that's obviously been used as a working area, and at the bottom of that, yes, there's drinks machines.
Cara will go up to the drinks machines and pour a couple of hot drinks. Lay off the strawberry fish milk, whatever it is, and just go. She's in a bad enough place as it is without me making her life worse. And she'll come over, sit sort of across the table or whatever at a respectful distance, and take one of the mugs herself and slide the other one over quietly to Cassie.
Hey.
I just saw it flash up on the big board. That sucks, man. That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it isn't even that. It is that, but it isn't. These races, they're where you should get your mistakes out, But I thought we were homing in on the right crew, and obviously we picked someone who wasn't ready. But it's not the disqualification. It's the feeling that we're back to square one with just one more of the morning preliminaries to go before we do the big prelims this afternoon. And this one, naturally, VCI won. But of course they did.
Of course they did. Of course they did. But they're gonna at this point, aren't they? There's two teams in one. They're the ones they've got the research, they've got the history on it, they've got all the money they've been piling in. They're doing everything they can to look good in this. They've got that sort of head start, and you think we're back to square one, but we're not. Like from the prelim we were in earlier and this one, you can see pairs of people that aren't going to make it, and they say like you. I know it sucks, right? But they say like you learn more from. Oh, have I dropped out? Has everyone else dropped out? Because I was in the middle of a really good monologue then. Oh, I'm back. Cool. They say that you learn more from a defeat than a success, right? And it sucks, but I'm pretty certain between you and I, there's probably a couple there that aren't going to make the team now, right? So that's not back to square one. That's progress.
Yeah, but VCI shifted their roster again. They're now in a position where they've clearly picked a good team. I'm pretty sure they're getting close to settled, and they're obviously using their it's just feeling like an uphill fight at the moment, and there's a horrible feeling in my deep in me, like right at the base of my spine, that one of the things that we might learn is how to lose, and I don't want that. I want us to learn to win.
So, right, I grew up, right. I grew up in a decent home, right. My dad was busy, but we had some money, and my upbringing was all right. And I got to go to the college I wanted. I got to go to university. I got to is the sound still okay there, Rock Frog? I don't know what's going on with the glitches. Can everyone hear me? I don't know. Yeah, do say if it's terrible. Okay. Am I audible by the way right now? Am I audible?
I've certainly got you in roll 20. But
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Just double checking.
cool.
So yes, I I had this upbringing. It was all yeah, the video. Oh, good. Thanks. I appreciate it. Cheers, Rock Frog. Man, who invited this guy anyway? Random. Who's quieter, by the way? Me or them? Before I carry on, let's have a little pause. Let's have a little quality pause before I go into my monologue. Who's because I can affect either me or I can affect them, and I don't want it to be obvious one way or the other. Really, it'd be nice to be similar. Me, I'm quieter.
Testing audio.
I bet I know exactly what's happened. You know, I know exactly what's happened. I bet it's dropped me down. Let's have a check. Yes, it has. Always does. Right. Okay, that should be better. He shouts.
Thanks, Rock Frog.
Is that better?
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Is that better? Am I a bit better now there? Am I a bit better? Is that better? Is that better? Over? Better? Is that?
It's like a 20-second delay that you've got. You've got to just keep saying it. Keep testing it. Keep testing.
It, man. Gets it. You know, this is my I just dropped it down again. You see, this is like my my Oscar moment, so it needs to be good. You know.
Yes, this is the one you're going to get the award for.
Exactly. So it needs to be. Oh, there we go. I'm in the red. That's good. Right.
Or
Okay.
at least the survival role.
Yeah, please. So, like, you say that, right? But it's just success the whole time. Success teaches nothing. If you get used to just winning all the time, there's no development. There's no bettering. When I was a kid, like, I grew up with enough money, right? I got to go to college. I got to go to art school. Everything was good. I had all these different. I just walked into job after job after job through my skills, advertising, working, to going around meeting a good friend of mine who I still travel with now. I got to meet him. I got 2 jobs there, and everything was rosy. And it was only when I lost everything that finally I actually pushed myself to become a better person. And I think, as much as it hurts now, as much as it sucks, there's nothing more dangerous to an opposition than a creature, something that seems wounded with something to prove. Like, between you and me, right? We already can cut out half the crew, right? They're gone. But the ones that are still in it are hungry now, hungry to succeed, that have the skills, right? Look at Kat. Right, you've seen Kat. I've flown with her, right? That girl's got skills. She's probably the best out there out of all the crews in what she does, right? And she's with us. So that's already one up on everyone. And if you're getting rid of like the outliers, you're just left with people that are sick of losing and have tasted moments. They know they can do the jobs, you know. We know we can do what we need to do. Like, we're getting so close to that big race now. we've got how many more prelims have we got, Cassie? Like, what have we got left before the biggie?
There's one more prelim this morning. Then we have a couple of hours to fettle everything up, and then we've got 2 significantly longer races this afternoon and this evening. Then tomorrow, big day.
I reckon get the machine, like, you know, you're the boss, it's up to you, but the thing feels to me, I don't know, it feels to me like the machine itself is running well, right? I don't know, you're the pro, but it feels crazy inside it. It feels like it's a person thing. Leave us hungry for more, and leave us, like, when it gets to later on, we've all got something to prove. And the people that are either going to step up, if people are skilled, they grow under pressure. It's only the unskilled that wilt under pressure, you know. People that believe in themselves, when the pressure's on, you know, in the serious, like the longer ones later, will step up. I promise you, if you get the right crew in, we're going to be well up there. Look at earlier, we did well, right? Forget about VCI and all that for now. I'm dealing with some stuff with that, okay? I'm spreading some stuff. Let's worry about us. Like I say, I'm just someone that's come in yesterday. But, you know, me and you, I feel like, you know, I feel like it's almost providence that I'm here, you know, to get you through these dark times. That's what they call me, the Providence. I'm here to...
Can you roll a persuade for me, please, with intellect?
Yes.
Or
They
social.
call you the dark times then.
The dark times. That's a 7 + 4 is 11.
Okay.
Strong.
As you talk, you can actually see Cassie straightening up a little bit, straightening her shoulders. She unfolds her legs and slides to the edge of the desk, looking a bit more relaxed. And then you see her hop down off the desk, and she says, thanks. Now I better get out for prelim 6 because, you know, we'll see. Either it gets better and we put in a good run, or it gets worse and we all drown. But those are really the only 2 ways it can go. And she gives you sort of a bit of a smile and strides back out of the office. And as she does, I think we should take a little 5-minute break.
Fantastic. Let's do that. I'm looking forward to the break. Okay, everyone, don't go anywhere. Fid, stay. Rock Frog, stay. Sorry, you're not dogs, but please stay.
What is that?
It'll just be 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll be back for the rest of this evening's session.
I
had one of my needy moments. Fantastic. Right, 5 minutes, and we'll see you all back again in a second. Right,
We'll be back soon.
Click on some things. Hang on. I'm well pro at this now. Hang on, bear with me. That can go. Actually, some music. Should be the break. And we are now. Good evening, and we're back. Ben,
Yes. I spent today at a huge exhibition of Star Wars memorabilia, which included some very, very interesting things, especially some models that were based on the original concept art rather than based on the finished designs from the movies, which was truly fascinating. And so I spent the entire day talking about and thinking about Star Wars with Star Wars fans, which was wonderful, excellent. But it doesn't compare to the most important and significant moment of my day, the toast. So a long time ago, in a galaxy that's actually this one, but a bit further round, sort of inward and left a bit, um, it was a time of war. I mean, somewhere, not actually where this story takes place, but somewhere. Grahel Bast, our star bartender, was now working as the personal steward to Carvel Built. Aboard the private yacht, the Annabelle, he was surrounded by luxury. The yacht was huge and filled with sycophants and guards and a giant, beautifully animated monster in a vast cage down in the bilges, in case someone needed to be fed to it to express displeasure at their artistic skills, perhaps. Bill was an important man, of course, and Greyhill learnt a lot from him, but eventually came the moment when he had to move on, and he had to say farewell. On a distant desert world, he gymnastically left the ship and set out to make his fortune as his own boss. And this is one of the things that I value most in my memories of Greyhill, his independence and his willingness to take on a new challenge at every opportunity. And it's one of the reasons why tonight we raise a glass to him, the late, great Greyhill Bast.
To Greyhill Bast.
Great Bast.
Now, I don't think any of my Star Wars Day leaked over into the toast, but you never know.
No, I was confused why you brought it up, to be fair.
Yeah.
It sounds very original to me. It's nice to learn about Greyhill
exactly.
Bast's very original backstory.
Yes, excellent. Right, okay. So, we have preliminary 6 coming up. We can do that immediately, or we can step over to Agnar for a moment, or we are now at the point where Soraya might want to be waking up and doing something if she chooses.
I'm assuming Kara's not in none of ours are in prelim 6, are they?
No, yours were 2 and 5.
It might be nice to watch prelim 6 from Agnar's point of view then, as I just had a big chunk of things.
Okay. All right.
Whether he wants it or not.
Agnar, when you step aboard this vast dirigible, it is very, very long for its width. It has what a naval architect might call a very high fineness ratio. And it is technically held up, because it's barely moving, by the dirigible structure of the craft, but not exclusively that. It uses that as a way of keeping its energy requirements low and making sure that its lift engines are really quiet and subtle. It doesn't really need a huge amount of energy to keep itself in the air because of the fact that it's largely a dirigible. Inside, you have this enormous length of gondola. Down both sides of it, there are open seating areas with movable chairs. You can literally pull them over to the windows and peer down through angled surfaces at the water below. What you also notice is that several of those windows already seem to have projections on them, discreetly hidden in the ceilings of these angled, above the angled glass, are little projectors which allow configurable heads-up displays, basically, to be put across the glass. So from your perspective, it could highlight the team at a particular point, or allow you to zoom in and check out something in much greater detail. For this arrangement, the craft is doing a slow loop just sort of to the northeast of the island, and is slowly descending to get the best view of the sixth preliminary. But there are lots of people on board already, more still to come. Some won't bother to turn up until tomorrow, of course, for the main race. And there are servants and waiters moving back and forth down the full length of it. Because it is so much longer than it is wide, there are periodically along its length some little round bars which are being used by the wait staff, but those don't seem to have any stools or chairs around them. It seems that it's all table served. You know, you'll have whatever you need brought to you. The moment you arrive, someone checks Olivia Sharp's tickets and directs you to a particular spot in the sort of port side, on the left-hand side of the dirigible, which is your little area. A couple of seats, discreetly separate from the next bay over, with a table between them and your own glass display, which can be used to cover your view of the race. When what you want to see is through the glass, I mean, you'll always see through the glass, but you can put up anything you like as an overlay on it. And the controls are sitting on the table between the two seats.
As we approach the seats, Agnar will have a long look around at his surroundings and look down at the floor and down at the sea below, and he'll say to Sharp, looking down from such a great height on the vastness of the water below us reminds me very much of the rich history of Varga sailors. If I may, Ben,
of course,
get a time on a prompt card. Thank you.
Absolutely. And whenever you're ready.
Of course, the Varga people have always had a very proud tradition upon the seas. When you say Varga sailors, and of course the Great Pirate War, many might think space pirates nowadays, but no. Back in the day, in fact, I am so old that it was only in my grandfather's years that the Varga were sailing on the seas and engaged in the great pirate wars of the time with actual naval pirates. None of these space pirates, but he was fundamental in the downfall of Kakasha, the leader of the pirate armies and their great many vessels upon the sea. He squashed and blew up the lead vessel. I forget the name nowadays, but it's written somewhere in my family's. They've got a tome, a diary, along with his ancient map, and there's an old Varga naval maneuver called a crazy Ivan.
And there we go.
Quite often you turn on a sixpence and boom, and he smashes the table with all his strength in between them. Unleash your guns upon the unsuspecting enemy.
Can you roll an attack on the table for me, please?
Yes. Unarmed, natural. Melee, natural melee.
Yeah, it'll be unarmed melee. You don't need to use your natural weapons for this.
No, but that's better. That's an 8 on the dice, and it's
Okay.
only a -4.
It is a satisfying clonking sound as you hit the table. It really does ram home your point.
Mm.
Excellent stuff. By the time you've settled into your seats, there's already a waiter there offering to bring you food and drink, anything you'd like.
Oh well, we'll say to the waiter. Well, I've only just finished second brunch, but I suppose he looks at his device. Time is getting on. Perhaps a third. Sharp. Please, it's on me. You're so kind to invite me. I'm more than happy.
Sharp sort of leans in conspiratorially and says, "Food and drinks included."
Oh. Well, at this rate, I don't know if I'll ever be able to repay you. This is wonderful. If you could bring me your whiskey list, please.
Absolutely. When you talk about bringing, he leans down to your table and just touches a control, and up on the window comes an extensive list of whiskies from all over the sector.
And he'll look through and he'll find the. I believe it's already canon that he quite likes the PT, or the space equivalent of the PC. The PT
Yes,
whiskey.
definitely.
He'll find a name that stands out to him, and he'll one of those, please, if you would.
Absolutely. And he turns to Sharp, and she says, "I'll have a brown rockthol," and she picks one of her choosing, and they set off. The waiter sets off to go and collect your drinks.
I never acquired much of a taste for the rockthol, but I do hear very nice things.
It's an acquired taste, I know, but I do enjoy a rockthol.
Mm. And it's so readily available, which is always always handy, I suppose.
It's very useful, yes. And we have a lot of them on the liner, so I get to sample a few when I'm off duty, obviously.
Of course. When's your next? What's the next big game? So sure, Soraya will get a kick out of me knowing the upcoming schedule for the local teams.
We've got one setting off in just over a week.
And who's playing?
This one's I only know the alleged home team because we're on our way to Osin.
Of course. The old return leg, I suppose, in some shape or form.
Yeah, I mean, I have a vague feeling it might be Osin and Dillabrew, but I'm not certain. I know it's Osin.
Yes, of course. And tell me the Pelago. Who's your pick?
Well, up until very recently, I think it's more than fair to say that I would have been probably cheering for Impact.
Yeah.
They're kind of sponsored by Speranza, the company that are hosting us here today and run the liner.
Oh yes, I've got them written down. That's very important to me. Hang
on. However, I've recently discovered that I kind of know somebody who might be competing for ISB. So so knowing that, I think I might have to shift my allegiance.
Well, I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated by Kara and the rest of the crew, but it leans in a little bit. If you wanna cheer on Impact, I can keep a secret. Don't you worry. Kara will never know.
It would seem disloyal, frankly, sitting next to one of her crewmates. But I hope they do well.
Plus, and he turns on the big hollow projector backpack with the ISB and the it's a flying boat, but it should never be a flying boat thing flashing across in team colours. Plus, I'm well equipped to cheer them on.
Wow! Yes, you are. That's impressive.
Well, it's a bit of a novelty, but I've got some ideas for it after the races. Of course, we can put it to use. Should I? Sorry, this must be embarrassing. I'll turn it off. And he frantically tries to push the buttons and turn it off, and it probably takes a little moment.
Stabs a couple of times before he gets it right. And as you do, the drinks arrive, and the waiter says, at any moment, if you just touch that control there, I can be summoned, and I'll come and take whatever order you like. If you'd prefer to order off the menu yourselves, of course, you're free to do that, and I'll just bring you whatever you order.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind.
It's just a few minutes before you start to see on the screen the countdown for the last of the morning preliminaries. I say morning, they do drag into the afternoon, but only a little bit. The teams will have a lunch break afterwards. And you can see that by default, the screen is now showing a zoomed in picture of the team craft coming out of their slipways and assembling on the start line. And the dirigible is going lower to give you a better and better view by seconds. It's not over the start, it's over sort of the midpoint of the course. And it is low enough that you can easily see the relevant layout. So you can see in comparison the sort of expanded graphical version compared with the real one, but you can clearly see the same structure through it. So it's easy to identify the teams. And as they line up on the start line, you see that the heads-up display is also now tagging the real teams, the actual physical team you can see through the glass, with a little label with its 3-letter code to indicate which craft you're looking at through the glass, and in team colors. So pretty obvious to anyone who follows this race exactly which craft you're looking at. And as the craft assemble, you then see that you've also got appearing on your display the actual countdown, the same countdown that's used by the teams is also being displayed on your screen, on your head-up display, which means you've got about a minute or so before the race actually gets underway. And you can see that that Sharp is quite into it. She's leaning forward in her chair and staring at it, and occasionally casting a sort of grin across at you as the countdown comes.
As she does, in one moment, Agnar's got his device in his hand. Is just Sharp. I'm sorry. Just quickly before it begins, what do you make of this? Look at what Kara's posted to her to one of her social medias, and he'll show the the swapping of the team post. Is that allowed? Can they do that?
Sharp looks at it, and you can see that the post has garnered a fair amount of interest, and there are people who are claiming it's probably illegal, against the rules, and people should be disqualified for that kind of thing. But there are also people pointing out there's nothing in the rules that actually prohibits it. There's nothing that would literally stop you from doing it. But a lot of those people seem to be coming to the conclusion that it may not be cheating, but it's pretty unethical to swap potential teammates around in order to basically choose the very best team for just one craft from 2 crafts worth of trials and tests and preliminaries is considered a low blow, and it hasn't escaped the notice of the people commenting that these 2 teams also are using identical craft. It is something, I think it's a sort of a general feeling that the fans aren't entirely happy with the way VCI is doing their business.
Yeah, and Agnar will bring that up, and it was like, aren't these are the teams that are using the same craft, aren't they? I read an article, and he'll attempt to go to like a news article, but oh no, sorry, that's my calendar, because he's old and he can't, he doesn't know how to use his device. I don't know how to
referring to people who are much younger than me as old.
I'm calling Kara. Stop, hang up. But yes, they're the teams, aren't they, that have more or less identical craft. It all seems very underhand.
Yeah, it's been talked about a lot in the build-up to the race that historically all of the teams have built their own craft, designed their own and everything, but 2 teams this time have gone to a third-party designer and bought identical craft, and by some miraculous coincidence, those are the 2 teams that are also now collaborating on sharing their team members and their team tactics and everything. There are people who think it's pretty underhanded.
I mean, I suppose is it weird? Can you enter more than one craft? Could a team enter more than one craft?
No, a team can only enter one craft, and that's an absolute rule. But it appears they didn't stop 2 teams from coming to an agreement.
So as long as they've got a different name, they'd
have to have a different name, different sponsors, be paid by different people. But
sure,
behind the scenes, you never know what deal's been struck, do you?
It's interesting. Do you think anything will come of it? Will anything change next year? Yeah, is it a yearly thing? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's an annual race, so I would expect.
Of course.
I would expect there will certainly be some pressure to change the rules, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to find that they change the rules about teams swapping people, but I don't think they'll change the rule about buying in third-party craft and multiple teams having the same one, because clearly, it's a thing that may be just the way the sport's going. Buying in an expert to build you a craft, and if a company's going to do that, they're going to want to sell more than one, aren't they?
Well, sorry, it's slightly awkward, but speaking of buying in experts, how do you think they'd implement the no stopping of team members? Because of course, VCI had one Anton Fess on their roster this year, and he was with a different team last year. Would that be classed as swapping, or
I would guess
it's a grey area?
I would guess that probably wouldn't be. I would think what you'd have to do is sign up people for this year's race. You can't stop a good captain from taking a better pay packet for another team if another team buys them for next year, say. But once they've been signed for that team, you probably can stop them then signing for a different team that year.
I suppose it becomes a lot more formal, what with contracts and NDAs and all that formal stuff. Maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting.
As you've been having this conversation, the timer has ticked down. There's a pause, this time much shorter, maybe half a second before the light goes green and you see the craft both in the HUD version and in the real version accelerate. You haven't seen it from this angle before, and it's a slightly different sight. The craft accelerate very, very quickly, and almost as soon as they're moving, the hulls come up out of the water on their hydrofoils. A large rooster tail of white foam comes out the back very, very quickly. But then that becomes much longer and much thinner as the main hydrofoil parts are no longer in contact with the water, and the craft enter their wing in ground gliding with just the keel right at the back, hanging right off the back of the stern of each craft, dragging in the water. And you can see in your close-up that means there is a gap between the body of the craft and the beginning of that white tail. But that tail is huge, and as the craft accelerate through the sound barrier, it becomes almost textured by the turbulence left behind it. The first turn looks insanely sharp and really hard to manage, and then they really gun it and accelerate to absolute maximum speed on the very short run down across the coast of the island. As you watch, you see VCI begin to pull out a small lead. But if you're watching for ISB this time, they're staying in the middle of the pack, pushing maybe into the top half, fourth-ish, that kind of area in the early part of the race. And VCI does look to be very, very slick. In the zoomed in images of the craft, you can see that they are very, very smooth. It's clearly a well run team, well drilled, and the craft does seem to be just smoothly pulling away. DSS in exactly the same model of craft are struggling a little bit. They're not in last place, but they're next to last, and they seem to be getting some problems with the turbulence from the other craft, which always makes it difficult. But they're also getting problems with a bit of waggle in their wings. They're not as smoothly able to stay properly stable. But as they hit the main turn, the big sweeping turn at the end of the race, the big turn, VCI still doing brilliantly at the front, but it seems that ISB is just beginning to slip a little bit. And by the time they're on the way back, ISB is down in fifth place. The race on the return leg is a victory lap for VCI. They are in no danger. They look like they are absolutely in charge. And when they do the final turn, it looks flawless, absolutely perfect. And they cross the line comfortably in first. Though ISB does try to recover a little bit, they eventually come in fourth, with DSS trailing in last.
It looks like they've picked which team is going to be their key team.
Yep, that does appear to be the case. It looks like, at least based on the results, it looks as if VCI is the team that is being given all the help.
I'll take a photo of the results screen as it comes in and post it somewhere down Kara's social media post, just to try and fuel a bit more paranoia. Is it paranoia at this point? I'm not sure it is, but that kind of fuel the vibe that's going.
In the dirigible, there does seem to be a bit of enthusiasm for the fact that Team Maglo came in second. They've apparently won a few friends through the trauma they had in the run up to the race, and lots of people seem to sort of have them as their second favorite, if you know what I mean.
Now, being that Agnar's grandfather was a naval man. See what you've done here, Suggs. Judging on VCI's route that they took and the general manoeuvring of their craft, would he get the impression that they have somebody who is an expert on the tides and the moving of the ocean? In house at the minute currently.
I'm trying to think what role this would be.
It's a very good question.
Because we don't really have a role for assess the quality of oceanography in a team by looking at the outcome of a single race over a short distance. For some reason, that isn't included in the mongoose rules.
Yeah.
I think you could make him use seafarer or one of the sciences. I feel there's a lot of sciences out there.
I think that's right. Yes. If you've got a seafarer, you can use that. And other than that, I'd be tempted to say you could probably assess it if you've got any oceanography or planetology yourself.
Now, you said all those things, Ben.
Yes.
Yes, you did. I've just got nothing I can come back with. That's pretty much it. There's nothing. I mean, he's not even like he was in the Marines, so he could have used his military tactics for some kind of naval or the Navy.
Not usually what they mean by Marines.
No, certainly not. Okay, I'll take the -3 with
A -3.
Probably education.
Thanks. Well, that's a 9. -3 + 2 is an 8.
Okay.
Well,
It's not something you could be certain about, but based on what you saw and what you know, it was a short race and there's not that much room for a tactical choice. But you did notice that right at the start, going into that first turn, VCI did choose a slightly different path to the technically shortest one. And that's quite uncommon in a short race. To go the long way around anything is uncommon in a short race that only lasts a handful of minutes.
Mm.
So I would guess that you would think they may have had someone prompting them about the conditions. This is not the route they took the previous time, for example. So it was a choice they made for this race alone. So it could be, can't be certain, but it could be that they've got some in-house expertise. Yeah.
Okay. See what you've done, Socks. You've opened up a whole barrel of fish. What with Agnar's ancestry now. He'll take out his device and send a message to Kara, and he'll just say, "It's odd. You know, I mentioned earlier. I'm sure I mentioned it. Fess is missing from hospital. The VCI team didn't take the shortest route, and it was different to their last route. Just an observation. ..
I was just looking through my notes and I had written in capitals, "Behold my floofy charm." I don't know where that's from, but it's quite useful. That would certainly ring a bell to Kara. Yes, thank you. Are we sticking with Agnar or are we pinging to Kara? Was that part of the message?
I think, given that we've just finished the race and there's nothing going to be happening other than some refreshments on the dirigible for a while.
So much refreshment.
It might so much brunch. It might be time to cut back to Kara, since obviously the race results will have come in over the same screen as you were watching before, and you are in that facility.
Kara will get the message and she'll pause for a minute. I like to think she was stood with, you know, the remainder of the team that weren't out in the race, watching the screens, looking at the numbers, trying to crunch the numbers, seeing the live feed and like the team feed, celebrate in a good position, but also wishing they're sort of glad that the vibe is getting good because that's good for the captain. But we don't want to go too well because we need to get in. But that message would trigger that little shiver up the back of her spine of, oh man, it can't be Fess, can it? Can it? How long is there? She would know the timetable. How long have we got before the afternoon runs?
2 hours.
She's going to turn to Sammy if she can.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy, it seems like VCI have got someone feeding them. Someone's just started feeding them condition reports. Something that they didn't have before. And I've also heard that Fess has excused himself from hospital. Let's put it that way. You don't think he couldn't be down here, could he? In the VCI, in their pit.
She looks a little bit nervous. Her first encounter with Fess was quite scary for her. And everything that's happened since has not exactly made her feel more warm and fuzzy towards him. So, so she gives it a think, and she says, "It could be. I've got to ask though. Do you think he'd be in their actual team HQ now, or could he have done it remotely?"
I guess there's no reason why he would be there. Look, if I can get in close, I don't know, maybe I can find a way. She sort of taps her laptop bag that's over her shoulder, you know. Maybe I could find a way to find a way, but how do you feel about coming with me to the to VCI to see if we can, I don't know, just get close geographically? If I can get close enough, you know, it's easier for me to try and hack if I'm close.
Sure. Can try that, I guess. Isn't there someone you'd rather take? I mean, anyone at all, please?
I totally get you. Of course there is. Look, you stay here. There is someone on the crew that has never met the man, so isn't clued into his creepiness. Freya.
Freya sort of wanders over. You screamed?
Yeah. We got a couple of hours. I wanted to wander over to VCI. I want to check something, and I could probably do with a spotter, someone to keep an eye out. Because what I want to do is not officially legitimate.
Okay. Sure. But, I mean, won't that potentially be a problem if we get caught? Couldn't that get, like, ISB disqualified?
We're not going to get caught, Freya. We're not going to get caught. Look, and I've got some other plans as well. We're not going to do anything dodgy. Well, we are going to do things dodgy, but we're going to be careful about it. Okay.
Okay. Sure. Anything I can do to help?
Yeah. You know how good you were at pretending to be a camera crew. You'd even got to the point where you were pointing the camera in the right direction, right?
And holding it mostly the right way up.
I'm going to need you to re-embody that version of yourself. We're going back into youth TV mode.
Okay.
So we're going to need to get changed. I reckon we've got an hour before we need to be back here and sort of ready to go. Okay. So meet me out front in like 5 minutes.
Sure. 5 minutes.
Cool. I'll see you out front. Don't be worried. Don't be a scaredy. It's all good. You got you know, these are things you got to do if you're part of the Baltic Star. You got to walk the line. Have you ever heard of
Sure,
that old Terran
sure.
singer Johnny Cash? He talks about it a lot. He never left the line, I heard. I don't know what the line is, but he was a big fan of the line. What I'm saying is, there's a line, and we're gonna try and stay on this line. And if we're gonna fall off, we're gonna fall off on the right side of the line.
Right. I think I got in trouble with that when I first got a driving license. I misunderstood what they meant by tear along the dotted line.
Am I going to regret choosing you for this important task?
She sort of steals herself and looks like she's ready to go. You can see Kat chatting amiably with other people in the open area as well. She's doing that thing that people do where they sort of go over what their last race by doing hand motions, you know, sort of showing that the turn to the left or the turn to the right or how they did what they did. And she seems quite happy chatting away with other members of the team.
Yeah, I want her to ingratiate herself with the team. I want her to be like the key player, I guess. And she seems to be giving herself a good vibe of that. As soon as Frey goes, Kara is going to ping out a message to Zoe and Johnny and Soraya.
Okay.
And in it, she's going to say, Fess is out. I have reason to believe he's working with VCI, but don't know where from. It would be helpful to get any information.
Mm-hmm.
And sends it out that way.
Okay. Zoe is waiting for any kind of insight, instruction. She's keeping a close eye on things. And so you get a message immediately back. And the message says, I'll find out what I can.
Oh, fantastic. That's what we need to do. We need to find out. Carl will sort of stash her phone and go to get changed, I guess, with the idea to meet Freya.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Both of you change out of your sort of team uniforms. And assemble by the front entrance to the enclosure. You can be obviously quite overt about it or quite subtle about it, however you want to play this.
Is the are the names of the crew put up between races and things like that, Ben, or is it just ship names and things like that?
It's each of the areas has a sort of fence around it, as well as obviously the enclosed area. There's a little bit of a gap between each of those fences, so people who aren't inside the enclosures can actually walk between them all the way down to the water. Mm-hmm. And some people are doing that. They're milling back and forth. And across the main crescent, there's a lot of people milling around. I mean, because the actual racing has come to an end for a while, they're moving around a lot. And they are getting food, getting drinks, they're chatting, and they're all standing around in groups and moving from place to place. There's nothing they're particularly staring at. So if you can imagine the scene, it's very busy, but there's nothing that people are sort of focused on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And Kara's tweets and that haven't said that she's part of the team as such, but that she's been looking around that place more than anything, isn't it? So it's not like she's a team member as such. Okay. She's gonna smile to Freya. So let's do some good work for Car Alaska's vlogging productions.
Okay.
And she drags her out of the paddock, our area, and into the crowd, if possible.
Okay. What kind of crowd are you aiming for?
Just to start with, whatever's outside, whatever's immediately outside where we were, outside ISB.
All right. So just outside ISB's enclosure, or just outside the building, between the enclosure and the building?
Outside the enclosure. So into public
Okay.
area, I guess. She's gonna go full Davina McCall. She's gonna get the cameraman walking backwards as she walks forwards through a crowd. She's going a bit street mate.
Okay. The cameraman is Freya, remember? So
Yes.
we're going to have to find out how dexterity works here, but sure.
Exactly.
This could go well.
I'll start talking. I'll start talking. Make rolls at as you feel fit, I guess.
And you want basically where do you want to end up? I mean, you're going to steer Freya towards the VCI.
Yeah, but I'm happy to
Theme?
but I don't want it to necessarily seem as we're targeting for it.
Sure.
My idea is that I'm going to start walking and let people crowd around and do their little chants and poke at things and flash their colours and do.
You're
hand
kind of doing a
signals
grid
and-
walk.
Yeah, pretty much. I am. Yeah. But
Yeah.
if Davina McCall in the 90s did grid walks.
Yeah. So the length we're talking about, you'd have to move over 4 slipways, if you know what I mean, in order to get to VCI.
Sounds perfect. So she's going to come out and she'll be like, "Hi everyone, Car Alaska here for Car Alaska Vlogging Productions, and I'm back right here. We are through all the morning's prelims. Things are looking good. There's some big teams taking the lead, some struggling a bit, and it's been an absolute delight to get a look inside for you. Those that don't follow me at Car Alaska Vlogging Productions for more information. We're giving it big, we're giving it large. We're here for the youth." She'll turn to someone nearby. "Who are you here for tonight, my dear friend? My dear friend. What's your team?"
He immediately sort of turns to the camera, looks just a little bit startled, and then points to Detton, to DSS.
DSS, and they came in last. How you feeling?
I'm a bit down. I think they're not really trying.
Oh, I've heard rumours circling that they're sending all their best drivers and their team to VCI. Do you think there's truth in that, my dear friend?
I don't want to think it, but it looks like that to me.
Well, I hope you're proven wrong, and I hope your team make a big comeback later on and tomorrow. Up the DSS.
I hope so too. I've got money on it.
Oh, it's a mugs game, viewers, especially you underage viewers of mine. Gambling, it's a mugs game. And would you say you're a mug, my dear friend?
Not how I'd describe it.
Well, there's only one way to make money when you're losing. Bet more money. Anyway, who else is here? You, my dear friend. Who do you support? And she's sort of, she's doing these steps as she's going along.
Yeah. Well, by this time, you've made it as far as GEC. So, indeed, you find someone wearing the blue and green fan outfit for GEC. And she just points to it. It's like, GEC, all the way.
GEC. It's been a quiet couple of prelims for you. You're looking good though. It's a nice looking ship you got there. Some very sexy colours as well. I can see why you support them. Are you feeling confident, my good friend?
I'm hopeful. I don't know. I literally say confident, but I'm hopeful still.
Hopeful's good. Hopeful's good. What do you think's a good finish? Realistically, what's a good finish for you in the big race? What are you going to be happy with?
I'd have probably taken third if I'd been offered it before the competition started. Now, I might even be happy with fourth.
Fourth's all right, though. Fourth's all right. Fourth's all right. You can't moan about fourth. Now, I've got a special competition for those watching. Somewhere in Sellville, there is a very furry Vargo. He's hard to miss. He's often wearing combat armor, and he has gone out there especially for our channel, wearing one of those big holographic signs. If you go up to him and you shake him by the hands, and you say, "Greetings to you, Destroyer of Worlds. Car Alaska's vlogging community will reward you with a free ticket to the final race on board the big dirigible itself." Remember that? Destroyer of Worlds to the holographic carrying Varga.
Excellent.
I look forward to that.
You know how sometimes when you're making notes about what happens in a session, sometimes those notes come out different to other times. Okay. You press on.
Well, dear viewers, I'm taking this walk now. We're going past different teams, as you can see. We came out of Ice B. We've gone past GEC. Was it GEC?
GC
GC. Where else? We
and DSS you've passed as well.
DSS. I can see that sad crowd here. They're looking glum. It's understandable. Things going south for them, quite literally. But you know, keep your chin up, friends. Keep your chin up. You've still got a chance. And if you can't keep your chin up, find another team. You know, only true fans will stick through thick and thin. Unlike some of the drivers I've heard who are jumping around between teams. If you think that might be a chance, retweet, repost about it. Let's get it trending because we need Pelago racing to be pure. We need it to be a real beautiful sport, and we don't need this kind of shenanigans going on. If you believe that is what is happening, dear viewers. Should Karen walk into the next?
Okay, I'm going to ask a quick question at this point. Are you streaming this?
Yes.
Is it live?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next one over is you as you move along is Impact with their black and silver outfits, and in fact, there's someone coming out of there in an Impact team uniform that's crossing your path.
Oh, look at this. We are very fortunate. There's someone here from Team Impact. A beautiful kit. This is a beautiful person. Good afternoon, dear friend. What is your name? Where do you come from?
I'm local, actually. I'm a Giikur lad.
Up the geeks. Up the geeks.
My name's Jers.
How are we spelling that, dear friend?
Jerz.
Jerz. Jers. Is it a boy?
Yeah.
I'm going to call you Jersey Boy.
Really? Why?
It just seems right. It just seems fitting to you. How are things doing in IMP? It's been I don't feel like you have to give away secrets. We're just getting a vibe for the channel. Feeling good? Feeling confident?
I think we've still got our best performances in our back pocket. We've been making changes running up to this. I think we're going to get better and better. And I think tomorrow, when you see us with the real race, we're going to surprise everyone.
Oh, it sounds like fighting words, doesn't that, dear friend? She turns behind to the mishmash of crowd behind her. Let's get a quick consensus. You lot, where are IMP finishing tomorrow?
Because you're standing in front of the IMP area as you do this, unsurprisingly, though there is some dissent, most of the people there seem pretty confident IMP is going to do all right.
Let's have a big let's get a chant going. Jersey boy, Jersey boy. Come on, he's one of yours.
They do look at you a bit oddly because they don't understand the reference. But after a while, you do get a little smattering of cheers and applause.
That's good enough. That's good enough. You guys got to get better though. Get better. Big race tomorrow. Was he just wandering out? He wasn't like storming towards me at the time, right? He just happened to be part.
No, he was just leaving their enclosure and heading off into the crowd, maybe to get food or something. You never know.
That is true.
To get accosted.
Is it VCI next?
Yes, the very next one.
Here we are. We're outside VCI. Look at this. This is a very confident-looking crowd. You, madam, you feeling confident right now?
The woman you're talking to looks not just confident; she looks smug. Like, we are going to take this race apart. This isn't just going to be a win. We're talking shortest distance, record time. We are epic.
You say shortest distance.
And as you're having this conversation, you get a little notification that you've got a message coming.
Yes. Carl sort of pat her on the back a bit, like celebrate her a little bit. Crit fail. I can save that. Ben, can you save that for the start of the next one, please?
Yes, I can.
Gosh, this is fantastic. Look, tell you what, and she'll sort of point to Freya to sort of like rotate the camera to get the crowd, and she'll start, geeing the crowd up, like a bit of a conductor. Get all the chants going, VCI and all that sort of stuff. And as Freya does the turn, she'll quickly check her message.
Okay, it's from Kat. And she says, "You caught Fess on your stream."
Oh. Cara will immediately, blood running cold, message back and say, "Where?" ?
Leaving VCI.
Cara will sort of try. She's not the tallest, but she'll try and tippy toes past the crowd and sort of have a look round to see if she can catch him at all.
Okay, can you roll a... I'm going to suggest that in this case it's going to be a streetwise check, please, with intellect.
It's a 7 plus a 0 plus a 2 is a 9.
Okay. Yes, you can see him. He's a little distance away, but you recognize him. You know this guy quite well. He's heading away from you, down towards the sort of eastern edge of the cove.
Cara will she'll whisper to Freya. She'll say, sort of get footage, get around, get their get the crowd interested, try and get their sort of waves and cheers and things. I'll see you in a bit. And she slips off to try and slip off through the crowd to follow Fess.
Okay. Freya looks a little nonplussed and sort of turns the thing around, looking back and forth, not really knowing what she's doing. And you set off in pursuit of Fess through the crowd. And as you do, we will call it for tonight.
Oh.
Back with a vengeance, that boy.
Reared his ugly face once more.
He certainly has reared its ugly face. Sorry, Chris, I knew that because of the time as well and the appearance, I guessed we were easing towards the end. So, but we shall kick off with you next
We'll
session.
give it its fair due, I think.
Give it what it
When
deserves.
we've got time for it. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to Agonar getting swamped by about 300 people that want to go and drink on the dirigible.
Well, you say you've got thousands of people following you, but that's across the whole universe. Chances of any of them actually being on this planet is pretty slim.
She only had about
argue.
50. She only had about 50, and still she started posting about the Pelago race.
No, that's true.
Well, thank you very much, guys, and thank you to everyone who joined in chat. Thank you so much, Rock Frog, for turning up. It's lovely to meet you, and
It's been a joy.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Socks, as always. Thank you, Crit, for turning up and making Luke just slightly more miserable, which we always appreciate. And we will pick this up next time in Traveller. But tomorrow night we are doing Fimbria.
We are doing Fimbria. Fimbria is a great game. I picked it up from Soul Muppet Publishers at our convention that we ran in the spring. And it's set in a 90s that kind of existed but never really existed. It's a bit horror-y. And our beloved Ben, our beloved Ewan, and our beloved Sock Fiddler are all locked in a Woolworths as creepy fog is rolling in and changing everything and making everything a bit spooky and weird. And it's quite interesting. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow evening because you three have been utterly owning it. Utterly owning it.
We own the Woolworths now. Is that canon?
That's probably
I have
why
achieved what I wanted from that character.
it's probably why Woolworths went bankrupt, to be honest, under your ownership.
Yeah.
Too soon, Luke. Too soon.
I may actually have some archaeology to do on stream tomorrow night because I was poking around upstairs and I actually found an old Woolworths bag.
Oh, yeah.
And I have no idea what's in it, so I'm going to open it and see.
This is like how all Indiana Jones films begin. Don't do that.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, so we'll see what's in it tomorrow.
Yes.
I like it.
Nice one. Well, so that'll be 11 p.m. UK time again.
Yeah, 11 o'clock UK time. And until then, thank you very much for joining us or watching us on VOD. You know how much we appreciate anyone who does, but tonight was a lot of fun, and we got a fest sighting in at the end.
Yes,
11 p.m. UK time tomorrow.
We do it Friday, Saturday. You don't do. Well, you can put put your phone on in the bathroom while you're washing your hair, can't you? That's no excuse in this day and age. Right, we'll see you all later. Back to Discord or whatever.
Excellent. Have a good one.